following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Unsupervised, the spinoff. This week, your friendly neighborhood hosts welcome Regular Scott from the fabulous Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC podcast to talk a bunch of hoops. Our wacky stat of the week displays some flawed laws. In petty party politics, congratulations to Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris. Don't forget to email us at unsupervised@godefylife.com if you have anything you want to add to the conversation. It's playoff time, so sit back and enjoy the show. Wait a minute. Is this thing on? Testes. Testes. 1, 2, 3. Three's too many. Three's too many testes. Either way, I think this thing is on. We back in the building, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome. Unsupervised, the spinoff podcast, brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network. You can catch us all over the place. Check us out at godefylife.com for all of the written content and all the others. You want to check out any podcasts on the show, on the network, go to defylifepods.com. Speaking of pods on the network, now I'm here with the regular host, and then I got an additional regular host. Hollywood P, what's good with you, Pimpin'?
Excited to be back. Ready to get this show popping.
Right, and it's good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're all good, but wait a minute. If you're the regular host and I'm West Coast Jay, then who's the other regular host? Regular Scott, is that you?
Man, you already know. I'm here. I decided to be a little unsupervised tonight, so we're gonna get wild tonight.
Damn. Regular Scott hiding out in the garage because he can't really be too unsupervised without his wife finding out. You already know.
Beer cracking it back.
You already know.
Hey man, I get the wild out tonight. You know, I get to have a beer, and nobody. I can be as loud as I want. Going crazy.
Damn, he Uncle Oz and he done broke a beer and everything. Man, I'm so excited right now.
At the top of the show, though.
The top of the show, that's where he started it.
He ain't even playing tonight.
So, and you know when we get to the first commercial break, that's when you get a replay.
Oh, yeah, we know the procedure. I think we invented the procedure.
So, you already know how that goes. But I appreciate you all having me, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to coming on this bad boy and talking a little hoops with you guys.
Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate you jumping on with us, man. And been looking forward to having you back on ever since you and Uncle Oz came through. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad it came together. Definitely got to get you and Oz back eventually. You know. Thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, we're getting close to the election, so we're gonna need some Killmonger actual politics at some point in his day. We're gonna have to hear the whole thing.
Need a good rant.
We're gonna need a couple of good rants. You already know that. But like I said, you can check us out on godefylife.com. You can check us out on defylifepods.com. For all of the podcasts, for all of the network, and all the wonderful shows that go on, including Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC, who graciously allowed us to borrow their regular-ass host. Now, people always ask, how can you support the network? And the easiest way to support the network is to go to patreon.com/godefylife, where you can join up, just help us support the neighborhood and do the things that we like to do as a network, to take care of each other, to take care of the community, to make sure that you guys are getting the best entertainment that you can get. Now, you can catch us on... Hey, you know what? This is a regular Scott moment. Scott, tell them all the places they can find us.
Hey, look, you can find our podcast and this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Radio Public, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Go Defy Life Pods, all those places. Like, subscribe, leave a review, let us know what you think. Unsupervised the spinoff, Take a Knee from Marvel vs. DC. We are everywhere you get your podcasts.
See, and that's why I defer to regular Scott for that moment.
That was dope. That was dope.
He do it like a professional. Now, you can always email us at unsupervised@godefylife.com if you have questions, comments, concerns. You don't like the cut up Hollywood Paul's jib. You don't like,
Hey, man.
I'm just saying, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, thoughts, you have anything you want to add to the conversation, if you feel like you got a regular ass question, I will forward it to regular Scott. And he will handle all them things.
Yeah, we
All things regular.
Yeah,
They go to
just a
regular
regular
Scott.
guy looking for regular conversation, on a regular day. Just a regular podcast. Take a knee from Marvel vs. DC.
There you go.
Shameless plug.
Now wait, hold on. You want to hear the shameless plug? Check this part out. If you mention wrestling in a sentence, see what happens.
Wrestling. We were talking while we were off air about, the basketball game, which is on TNT. TNT also shows All Elite Wrestling, which is something that me and my co-host JD talk about on Showdown Pro Wrestling Podcast. Cheap plug.
See, that's a cheap plug.
Nice.
That's how you do that there. But anyway, we've been off for a couple of weeks. P, how was your week? What'd you get into?
I've been chilling, bro. Like I've actually had a good week, man. I picked back up on my home workouts. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get myself back into shape. Got a couple of things coming up here, so I don't want to be performing and sound like a fat kid that just ate a bunch of cake at camp. So get myself back in the swing of things, man. Other than that, just been chilling, man, and taking it one day at a time, brother. You know what I'm saying? Trying to chase that bags, even though I'm quarantined because of the Rona.
Oh, the Rona. Isn't she the greatest? Oh, man. Regular Scott, how was your week? What'd you get into this fine week?
And my week's been good. It's been pretty busy. I've been a guest on a couple podcasts so far. The Crossover Collision podcast is having their annual tournament, so I was part of the Pick'em show where we kind of set up the brackets and we picked, where each person was and who they're facing. So it was done kind of like March Madness is, where they show each bracket and whatnot. So I was part of that. I did a Fandom Fusion podcast where we discussed some of the best anti-heroes, which was a lot of fun. And this week, we've been doing our creators, and we are actually going to have a surprise guest from Defy Life on our show. I won't give away who, but I'll leave that little hook out there. So it's been a busy week. It's been a lot of fun. I'm a new father, so I've been enjoying playing with, well, I guess I'm not new anymore, but I'm new at this. I've been playing with my son. He learns something new every day, and the last thing he's been doing is every time I say go get a bucket, he's been able to pick up his little ball and go slam dunk. So we've been putting him through the training. Every time he misses, though, he owes me 5, and he knows it. So he starts crying, and then he pulls in my heartstrings, and I might let him slide with 3. But this week's been good. It's just another day, another week. It's an experience with a young kid. You see something new every day. So.
No, didn't he just turned 1, huh?
Well, he turned 1 in June, but he's about 14 months now. But it's time flies. It flies very fast.
Yeah, that's a trip. I like how parents, when the kid is under 2, they always refer to him in months. He can't just be 1 a couple months ago.
He's 247 months.
He's 1,743 hours.
Right.
Parent things.
But they're holding on. They're holding on to that youth, man. I love it. I don't blame any parent for that. And I think that every parent has a right to do that. So shout outs to regular Scott being a good dad, and putting in that time with his kid, and also being a good husband too, because he's out in the garage making sure he don't start no shit. Hey
man, there are certain hills that you choose to die on, and and being a little loud and waking up the baby is not one of them.
Smart man.
Just took a nice little turn for y'all. See, we got a little something for everybody here, man. You know what I'm saying?
I love that he gets to be unsupervised in the garage, though. That's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Bruh, I love it.
Like, he can only be unsupervised in the garage. If he in the living room, he's supervised. See?
It reminds me of that episode of Key and Peele when he was like, I said, bitch. You get to do all that.
So you said that to her? I mean, I said it around her.
Right. Shout out to Key and Peele.
Yeah, man. Jordan Peele doing his thing again. I want to see this. I want to see all of the stuff he's been doing recently. It's been kind of interesting. Past that, man, my week is back to lather, rinse, repeat again. I work, I sleep, I watch basketball, I play video games, and I watch Netflix. Not necessarily in that order. And I duck and dodge the Rona.
Okay, I'm about to say, that sounds like you ducking and dodging the Rona the right way. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
You know, I holds quarantine all the way down. Whoever designed quarantine designed it for me. I seem to enjoy all of the things that involve no other person but me. Yeah. Or self-centered. I can't figure out which. Either way, you know, we didn't all discussed it. We have a former collegiate hooper, a current basketball coach, and me who plays 2K on here. And we about to break down these hoop playoffs. So it's day 3 of playoffs now?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so thus far...
Well, kind of, sort of day 4, but I guess if you ain't counting the playing game.
No, about the playing game.
I kind of do.
Yeah,
I kind of consider that like what they call a wild card round.
Right. Or even there's playing games that get into March Madness. There's been playing games that get into baseball's playoff for the last few years. Like, it's just sort of becoming a trend in the major league sports. No, also in collegiate sports. Like, it's just sort of becoming a trend now that people have. There's the parity in the league now is to the point where the 8 seed is actually up for grabs. And if you're looking at the 8 seed out west, I mean, we were just talking about it. Anybody can get it out west.
Mm-hmm. As being shown every night.
Anybody
but it's
can get
still,
it.
It's still early, though. You know, I've seen a lot of overreactions to some of the losses, and some of the complaints are legit, but I still think it's early. You know, some of these guys didn't play well, and that's gonna. I don't think you can expect some of these performances every night, and we'll get into it. But I think there's been some overreaction on certain parts.
Mainly Charles Barkley pulling out a broom after game 1.
I mean, in Charles' defense, he said that before the game too. He said if Portland wins this first game, this is a must win for the Lakers. And if they win the first game, then it's gonna be a sweep. At which point, I believe.
Chuck, you know what you're talking about, Chuck. You don't know what you're talking about. See, you ain't got no rings, Chuck. That's why you don't really need your opinion. You know what you're talking about.
Why you always bringing up rings?
Because you ain't got none, that's why.
Hey, Shaq do need to give me something else besides the rings, though. I get what he's saying, but you got to give me something else.
Hey, you want something else? I got statues. How about that? Chuck ain't got no statue nowhere.
I
How about that? I got statues. Okay?
I got 3 Finals MVPs.
I got 3 Finals MVPs. I'm the only person to stop Jordan in the playoffs. Okay? Only one. Name another one, Chuck. I got stats, Chuck. Google me.
Kenny be sitting in the middle like, look, I got 2 rings, so both of y'all dumb.
And Shaq be trying to be like, yeah, Kenny know what I'm talking about, but you don't. Kenny like, listen, man, you know I'm just here.
Right. Like, look, I had Hakeem the Dream on my team. I'm good.
Yeah. Clyde. I'm good.
I'm good. You know, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But who's overreacting to what, in your opinion? First things first. What is the biggest overreaction you've heard thus far? Day 3 of the playoffs.
It's got got to be the Lakers. I mean, they didn't play well. And I think you got great performances from CJ McCollum. He's been a little inconsistent during this bubble period, at least for my taste. And I don't know if you can expect Nurkic had a great first half and then completely disappeared in the second half.
Agreed.
And I also think that AD's not going to play this bad every game. I think Danny Green's not going to be a no-show the whole time. He's going to catch fire. If he hits 2 of those shots, it's a different ball game. If Pope hits 2 of those shots, it's a different ball game. Kuzma has these 2-minute spurts where he just looks unguardable and then he vanishes. They're not going to play like that every game. LeBron had a 23, 15, and 15 game, controlled the pace of the game. He made passes to guys where the ball went right through their hands under the basket. Markieff Morris had a ball go right through his hands under the basket. These plays are not they're not going to play that bad every game. And I think that's an overreaction. I think Portland played well. It's a good matchup for Portland, but I don't think you can expect the Lakers to play that poorly 3 more times. I just can't see it happening.
I want to piggyback on that, Ray Scott, because I agree with everything you said, and I also want to add about Nurkic. I think those boys. I think that them battling to get to the spot they're in now, those are playoff caliber type games. Every game they play, and if you look at the amount of games they played through, if they were to go through sweeps, they went through essentially either 2 different rounds, or they went to a 7-game, and now they just played in their first game 1 of the next series. And them boys are going to wear out. We see it every year with the Portland Trail Blazers, and Dame putting it all out there, and other guys being inconsistent. They're going to run out of gas. And 2, I want to piggyback on. I agree that I don't see the Lakers making those type of simple mistakes again. I think they were a little rusty, and that this was a wake up call for them. And I also think that, Portland played relatively bad compared to how they normally play. They turned the ball over a lot. They were very careless with it. It was a lot of scrambles. I mean, a lot of air balls that they shot as well, showing that they're losing their legs when it gets, on certain situations, when the game's like third quarter, fourth quarter, they need to blow. And I believe that if the Lakers played at the caliber of they were playing right before the shutdown, if they can get that groove to these next 2 or 3 games, they're going to run all over the Portland Trail Blazers. Because if they continue to play like they did, which I think was relatively good compared to how the Lakers played, but compared to how the Lakers can play and have this season, they would have ran over.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple of things that I took from that game. Number 1, Melo double-doubled. Nurkic double-doubled. But Hassan Whiteside did not. Dame had 34, 5, and 5. Where's CJ? CJ had 21. Gary Trent Jr. was non-existent.
What did he hit? 6 points, maybe?
5. He hit
now,
for 5.
You say he was non-existent.
That 3
he
hit
a big
was big.
shot. Yeah, he hit a big shot.
That was momentum sucker right there. They still had a chance, but when he drained that, it was kind of like, okay, it's a mountain now. You guys, you got a miracle needs to happen at this point. You guys need a miracle play in transition, real quick, 2 quick buckets, maybe a 3. You need a momentum changer at that point when you hit that shot.
Now on the other side, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was non-existent.
1 point.
1 point, 1 rebound, and 1 assist.
What, he played 39 minutes?
29. He played 29 minutes.
That's unbelievable. How do you do that?
It's an impressive stat line if you stop and think about it, but is it really that impressive?
Not for the NBA.
Now, then you got Caruso. Caruso also had 29 minutes, and his one score, he scored 2 total points and got 3 assists. But his 2 total points came on 1 real powerful-looking dunk down the lane, and then all the open threes missed.
Yeah,
he brought energy. He brought energy, but he's got to hit shots. They got to hit shots.
They got to hit shots.
They gotta play with the rotations a little more, in my opinion, as well. They can't. There's no reason the Lakers being as deep as they are playing 7, 8 guys.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Now, on the other side of the coin, how come people are not overreacting to the fact that the Bucks got popped off by the only home team in the bubble? I think people have forgotten about that. Orlando Magic
because
are at home.
The Bucks are going to turn it up. We know that. Yeah. We know that. Like the Bucks, just like we're talking, the same way we're speaking about the Lakers. The Bucks was chilling too. They weren't playing and getting rotations, so they're knocking off a little rust. It was a wake up call for them, and I believe the Bucks are going to destroy the Orlando Magic the next time they meet. It's going to be it's not going to be a slugfest to the end. They're going to blow them out.
Well, I mean, we have seen a couple of blowouts, but we didn't see them until game 2. Boston was pretty much blowing out Philadelphia. I think they ended up winning by 8. Is that what you said?
Yep, by 8.
But they were blowing Philadelphia out for most of that game. And the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. Well, the Utah Jazz played. I don't know if the Nuggets even played.
Yeah, the Nuggets were. I don't know if they were all there or not.
I don't know if they were there or not, but I know that all of the Utah Jazz played because Donovan Mitchell made it a point to make sure everybody shot before he started shooting. Which was actually pretty cool considering he put up the 3rd most points in playoff history just 2 days ago. That's a rarefied air. It's him, Elgin Baylor, and Michael Jordan. Those are all people with names and jerseys in the rafters of places. So this kid's got a bright future. Utah's got a bright future. Or they're just going to be a perennial 4 seed. Which is kind of what I think is going to end up happening to the Nuggets, unfortunately. I think the Nuggets are going to end up a perennial 4 or 5 seed. A lot like Oklahoma City was for a while. OKC was like that when Russ was there. They were just a perennial 4 or 5 seed, 5 or 6 seed. You know what I mean? They couldn't win.
Even when it was just Russ?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was just Russ. We knew they weren't going to go far. Russ, we know his decision-making at the end. We know his shot selection. We know sometimes he's a little gassed because he's been laying it all out 100 miles an hour the whole time. But, he was losing his fucking mind. But when it came to the playoffs, that hero ball don't work. You got a whole team trying to click against you,
That's also true. That is also true. So, do you guys have any thoughts about anybody else out east or anybody else out west? Anything catching your eye?
Look at anybody caring that is listening and gives a fuck. Look at the Miami Heat. Those boys are rolling. I think the Miami Heat is a contender. I think I definitely believe they're going to roll through Indiana. I think they'll get it in. They'll get it in 6. Worst case. I think whoever sees them next has a problem. A big problem.
The Miami Heat, you say, huh?
I do.
Interesting. Scott, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just taking in everything what we're saying, and I like the Heat. That's one of the teams I picked at the beginning of the year. I thought they had a strong, just a good roster all around. I think Jimmy Butler brings a lot of toughness to any roster. I think Spoelstra is a very underrated coach. So, yeah, that's a really good pick. I like, as far as since we're kind of going with kind of surprise teams that catch your eye, I think the reigning champs look really good.
I
agree. I think Toronto looks really good. Van Fleet is playing extremely well. I think Kyle Lowry has turned into an excellent leader.
I don't like Kyle Lowry.
But he's a good general, though. He's a good floor general out there for that team. Nick Nurse is the right coach for that team. Siakam is he's that blend of athleticism, and he can play defense. He can stretch you. He's that prototypical for right now's basketball, and he's a good fit. Norman Powell fits that team really well. They have a lot of pieces. Serge is still doing well. I like what I like what they got going on, man. I think the reigning champs, they could very realistically repeat.
I don't know that the whole Western Conference has anything to say about that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, even who okay, so we're talking about the Lakers and the Clippers, and we're seeing like Nick Nurse. I think what he brings to the table is the X's and O's, and I think he is paying attention to the rest of the league. He's not looking past them, but he's still paying attention, and I think you see what works, and you make LeBron a scorer. You make AD and LeBron. You let them go at it one-on-one. You let them go get theirs, and you make those other guys beat you. That's going to be the way to beat the Lakers. And if we talked about they're going to turn it up, but they still got to show they can turn it up. Same thing with the Clippers. Like the game right now, they have so much more talent. Yeah, and they're still kind of asleep because they probably should have lost that last game if Porzingis is smart and doesn't get ejected. So I think it's anybody's ball game, and I think the reigning champs have just as strong of a case as anybody out there.
I agree. I think the reigning champs. I don't believe the Bucks, unless the Bucks has exceptional shooting outside of Giannis. I do not believe the Bucks will get past the reigning champs if they meet each other.
Well, I mean, if we're still talking about the Bucks waking up, their shooting isn't awake yet.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, like they have shooters. Chris Middleton is a knockdown shooter.
And if they don't have that impeccable shooting like they've had all season or so far that we've seen, they're not going to get past the Raptors. The Raptors are shooting. They're just clicking. Everybody's playing fearless. They're playing like they're champs. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty much. They're playing like, hey, don't forget about us. We just ran through all y'all motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And beat the best team on the fucking West. Yeah, we had Kawhi, but look what we're doing without him. You know. And I think without Kawhi, they could still shut down a Giannis. I mean, their defense is one thing that I've noticed. The Raptors defense is amazing.
Raptor defense, they play team defense. That's one thing that's really, truly going on. So I'm looking at the box score for the Bucks-Nets game, and these are the two things that stand out to me more than anything else. Apparently, Giannis only played 16 minutes. Nope, that was on 8-4. Disregard. I'm looking at the wrong
I was going to say,
because
that dude had like 37 points and 17 rebounds. I was like, holy hell.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Wait, did he go threes then?
I'm looking at the Bucks versus the Nets was my problem. I wasn't looking at the Magic at all. Now that I'm actually looking at the Magic, we can probably have a way better actually what happenness. So the Magic, we had a Nikola Vucevic and a DJ Augustine. We had a Terrence Ross.
Magic was hooping, bro. They like even Markelle came out and balled.
Yeah, Kel was balling. Markelle Fultz was balling. Former number 1 overall pick.
Like a lot of people don't realize Markelle Fultz was a fucking baller. This dude was supposed to be the next Brandon Roy, fucking elite. You know what I'm saying? A 1-2 guard. And then something happened. Maybe Ray Scott or West Coast and Phil listens in. Something happened to this dude, and he had shoulder surgery. And then they start fucking with his shot, trying to adjust his shot. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, but he had a fucked up free throw shot and 15-footer for a while. But before that, he was a knockdown shooter. I mean, pull-up game, amazing. Three-pointer, nothing. No problem. I mean, he could do it any way you wanted. But then after that surgery, he was like, it's like his confidence went away for a little bit. Like he lost his mojo. And then for some reason, he got traded out. And now in Orlando, he's playing like he got Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam. And you got scared to comment?
Yeah. Michael's, that is what it was. It was Michael's secret stuff, right? What Bugs handed him?
Michael's secret stuff.
Well, yeah, Giannis got his. I'm looking at the scores again. Like I said, 34 minutes, 31 points, 17 boards, 7 dimes. So Giannis got his. But Chris Middleton's 14 is not enough. George Hill was their second leading scorer, and that's not words I'm supposed to say. Not on that team.
Just the free throws.
Yeah, not on that team.
Just the free throws.
But yeah, the Magic actually kind of handled him right there.
Regular Scott. Well, a little sidebar. Since we on tangents of shit, and we got a co-host and we unsupervised like a motherfucker. Regular Scott, I want your opinion. I already know West Coast, but we're gonna go back in time for a second.
Okay.
All right. We're in game 1. It's the Cavs versus the Warriors. Last year. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. George Hill's on the line. He misses both free throws, and J.R. Smith makes his blunder. Do you think J.R. Smith deserved the blackballing and all the hatred that he had received after that? Do you believe that he is right where he belongs, trying to work his way back up to? We know any other coach would have put J.R. Smith in the game. We know that, at least for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, to see what kind of spark he could bring, if any at all. We know this, but he did not get that chance. He played bum fucking minutes in their reboot when they came to the bubble. George Hill has literally basically gotten elevated after he left the Cavs, and that season was over. Do you believe that J.R. Smith is to blame for that, or George Hill?
Oh man. Well, okay. Well, if I got to pick between those two, I put it on George Hill, because George Hill is a knockdown free throw shooter, and you got to hit those. You got to give me one. Actually, you got to give me both of them right then. But J.R. Smith did not deserve to be blackballed the way he has been for that blunder. He deserved all the backlash he got as far as the social media. He can take all that. He is a grown man. He gets paid millions of dollars. He can take all that. Right. I don't think he deserves the blackball, because I still think he can bring something to a team. He can knock down the 3 ball. He can play decent enough defense on a guard. I think he can bring something to a team. Like we were talking about, he should have been in the game at some point when Danny Green goes 0 for 5. J.R. Smith's a spark guy. He's somebody who comes in, can hit 3 threes in 30 seconds. You know, because he's gonna fire it up, and he's hot. He's hot. So no, he didn't deserve to be blackballed. George Hill's got to hit your free throws. And, you know, I'll never criticize LeBron for making the right basketball play and finding an open teammate underneath the basket for a layup. People are going to be like, LeBron should have took it. He had 50 points.
I didn't even back up to that one yet. Okay.
Well, because I know that's the common argument for that game is LeBron had 50 points.
Down to that. Yeah,
he was unstoppable. He should have just went to the cup. You make the right basketball play. He got George Hill a layup and 2 free. He got one of the best free throw shooters on the team, 2 free throws. He should have knocked the free throws down. LeBron did the right thing. You know, that's where I stand on that whole situation.
Gotcha. Thank you. Moving on.
All right.
Back to those. Sorry about that, listeners. I had to know what the coach thought. You know, he's coaching in this scenario right now. And I just wanted to know, since basketball's back on, this is a big part of my life and a big passion of mine as well. Yeah, I had to know, so sorry about that.
Fair enough. Well, hey, we got a listener question.
We do.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We finally do. Finally do.
This listener, he just some regular dude sent us his email. This is a regular guy. You know, he wanted to be the first to email the show.
Regular guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read this email from a regular listener. It says, I wanted to be the first to email the show because there can only be one first. So why not regular Scott? You know it's not Uncle Oz. So I've seen some ridiculous NBA players' all-time ranking lists, and it made me write this. So who are the top 10 NBA players you've ever seen? And he wrote seen in person, but he will clarify this as he is sitting right there.
I will.
that you've seen in person during your life. This is just a personal list of players you've seen. I'm only 30, so anyone before 99 I don't think it's fair to include because I didn't get a real perspective on them, so here's mine. Number 1, you've got Allen Iverson. Do you want to maybe defend any of these, or you just want to just read them off and listen to them as they go so you can just go, yeah, that's how I feel?
Oh, yeah, you can. It's like my first 5 I'm pretty confident about. The last 5 you can make arguments for and I'll hear them out, but them first 5 I'm very firm in where I stand on them, so you can just read them bad boys out. We can talk about them later, but you can definitely read them bad boys out.
So you got AI, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Tim Duncan, KG, T-Mac, J. Kidd, D. Wade, and then Russell Westbrook. And that's your full 10.
That's my 10.
I mean,
It's not a bad 10.
It's not a bad 10. Now, so then now that you're here, we can ask some clarifying questions. So, is this the players that we've seen, and do we only get to use players under 30 because youth under 30? Like, what part of the game is this?
So, when I said that, I just meant that you got to live through. So, they were playing while you were, really watching the game, and with players that you grew up with, not somebody that you never got to see play while it was live going on. You had to go back and watch.
I'm with you now.
Not like you had to see them in person, like at the game or nothing, but just they had to be played during your lifetime. Yes.
Right. You can pick up the remote, turn on TV, and you know this guy plays for this team because you understand what's going on in basketball. You're cognizant of that. You're not getting that second hand because your dad's watching.
Exactly. And it's not somebody you're not watching an NBA classic game on NBA TV or something. Like these are live games. So those are the players that you and it's your age. So however old you were when you were if you were really focusing in at 8-7 years old, then you can start from there. But I know I wasn't studying the game until I was a little bit older.
Most people I believe know about the game and really study it, whether I'm talking about the average person, because we all know not everybody plays basketball at a level to continue to play to even understand what's going on and keep up with it. But I think between 24 and 38 or something like that. So my point is I'm sure I keep up with my high school graduation. I graduated 2002, so of course I keep up with those people who were drafted that year and beyond. Of course, now that's kind of where my benchmark is for when I really okay, well, I'm just a fan of the game. I don't play that much no more, or I know those days are dwindling. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Look how dated I am with what year I graduated high school. So, I mean, because I was those are the guys that went to the league that I'm growing up with at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're the next generation stars. So that's I mean, but of course I can go back beyond that to some players because they just Shaq and Kobe's got to be on my list, but they didn't get drafted the year I graduated high school. They were already destroying motherfuckers. So I get what you're saying, definitely.
All right. Well, with that said, so my list, I just thought of 10 off the top of my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my list is going to go, Magic is my favorite player of all time. He was my favorite thing to watch. He still just is. So Magic Johnson. As a result, MJ, you can't list one without the other. Technically, I'm supposed to list Larry Bird, but I didn't really enjoy Larry's game as much. So MJ. I've got Tim Hardaway on my list.
Ooh.
I have Kobe and Shaq. Kobe, Shaq, and Bron. I have J. Kidd on my list. I have Vinsanity, Vince Carter on my list. I have Gary Payton on my list, and I have Chris Paul on my list. So you'll notice I'm pretty much point guard heavy. But
disrespect to Iverson.
No. Iverson was a shooting guard and a scorer. But you notice that all of my point guards they're distributors as well. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan. I would have put, just for the way that I like to watch the game, I would have had to seriously consider John Stockton over AI, and that's specifically because of the passes. Like I enjoy that part. The scoring, I get it, and I loved it. And I'm not hating on AI in any way. He was amazing. He was amazing to watch. He was amazing to kick it with, all the shit. But it's my list, not yours. So stay on my list business.
Yeah, those players are all a little bit before my time. I didn't really get to see a lot of. I saw a little bit of John because he played until like last year, but you know, I didn't get to see him really in his prime years, and I saw a little bit. I saw like Jordan's last years when I really started like watching it on TV. So I don't really count those. So those are all guys before my time.
Fair enough. Now, as for Vince Carter, so I was a Vince Carter fan when he was a Tar Heel. And what actually happened was, it's kind of a dumb, ridiculous story as to why I am a Tar Heels fan. I went to school in Colorado. I went to Colorado State University. And our basketball team was so bad in '97 that they would show us ACC games in Fort Collins, Colorado. I was an hour from Wyoming watching ACC games. Like, we had the ACC network hookup somehow. I don't know how it worked. But I'm an hour from Wyoming watching the ACC because our conference and our team was so not good that it wasn't worthwhile to watch them. So that year was the year that it was Ed Cota, Shammond Williams, Vince, Twan Jameson, and Mokhtar Jai. And the first time I ended up watching one of those games, it was against, I want to say, Georgia Tech. Ed Cota threw an alley-oop from half court, and Antoine Jameson caught it at the rim and caught a glance over his shoulder, and Vince was flying through the air, and Antoine Jameson then left the alley-oop as an alley-oop. And from that point forward, I've been a Vince Carter fan, because Vince threw it all the way nonsensically down, obviously. But a double alley-oop in college? Yep, I'm in. So, to see Vince play from college all the way through his 843-year career, because I feel like Vince in the playoffs right now. He not, but I feel like he is. Maybe that's just the way I be looking at Andre Iguodala these days. But anywho,
Not a Iggy fan either. Bump Iggy. He can go.
Okay. Like, you gotta keep in mind you are talking to West Coast Jay, an actual Warriors fan that's been there since the Warriors wasn't good. So there's that. Considering first championship in my lifetime, he was our Finals MVP. So I'm gonna need you to stay out of Iggy business rather, as well.
You know, I don't rock with Iggy. There's only one player on that team I rock with, and that's my fellow mixed brother Clay.
Everybody messes with Clay. Clay is awesome. Clay has one of the most beautiful shots,
Clay.
textbook beautiful shots in the game.
Plays defense.
The game. And he plays defense on top of all of that. Plus, he just always looks skeptical. He always looked like something. He's like somebody's up to something. Every time they show Clay, like they show Steph, they be over there cracking up. They show Clay. Clay always looked like, man, I don't know how I feel about this shit. Somebody trying to get me. Like, Clay, you're good. We're on TV. Like, nah, fuck that. He just always looks like somebody's out to get him. But that's just my thought, my opinion right now. Pete.
Yo.
You got a top 10 you've ever seen?
I mean, that top 10 I've ever seen that I like to watch. I'm gonna go with Vin. Oh, man, Vince Carter. I'm gonna go with Shaq, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, definitely, MJ and Scotty. I'm a duo guy, as you can see. I like Steve Nash, and but I like KG more than Amari. You know what I'm saying? And then I was a Starberry guy. I watched Starberry a lot. But see, then again, it's like Steve Nash and Starberry can switch, and then I could add AIM. So I ain't really set on mine. I got like 11 or 12 of them. But I don't like to follow rules, so that's why I want to supervise.
So to be clear, your top 10 got like 11, 12 of them.
That's my top 10, though. Mike 13, because I'm a white chocolate fan, too. Like, you ask me who I like to watch, who I've seen in my lifetime, like top 10, I'm not really a ranking kind of guy. Like, I know, who's the number one headband and who's the number two, and that's all that really matters to me. So, other than that, they're just out there hooping for the time being. It's like there's so many different players that are the best for that year. You know what I'm saying? So many different teams. So I've never been one to be able to say, yeah, this person's better than that guy. Because if we're talking about old guys to now, you can't even compare them. So, I don't know. I'm not a stat guy. Stats don't mean much to me. It's how you play during that game in that moment. You can argue, because this and that, but that's just where I am. So that's why I got like 11 or 12 of them.
All right. Fair enough, bro. Fair enough. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. Or I'm going to pull a Scott move. Hey, Scott, you want to give us a commercial for Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC? Or do you want me to play this commercial for Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC? It's up to you.
Hey, listen, I'm prepared for either, but I'm going to have you play the commercial because I'm going to go grab me a drink because I'm unsupervised in the garage, and I'm going to turn my trusty fan on.
Damn, not the Cool Master. All right, well, y'all stay tuned.
Cool Master 3000.
Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back with you shortly.
If you're into all things comics, you have to check out Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC, your go-to podcast for comic and superhero discussion, debates, polls, and more. Tune in as regular Scott and Ozzy Killmonger chat about your favorite comic topics, and you never know who may show up for an open mic or what will be next on their favorite One Gotta Go. Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC, every Sunday, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
And welcome back. Again, this is Unsupervised, the Spinoff Podcast, episode 25. Shout out to the real himself, to the main man Money. He been going through some things.
Yeah, man.
Apparently he didn't got back to his old ways of saving hoes and shit. And so as a result, he had to take a day or two off to strap his cape up tight. But it's all right. He'll be back with us soon. We got the regular
love for you, homie.
We got the regularists of regular Scots. Yeah, y'all should actually check out Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. It'll get your nerd content all the way on point. Shout out to the Uncle Ozzy Killmonger. I'll bring some beer next time I'm through.
Yeah, you got to restock that fridge.
With all that said, are y'all ready for some of the wackiest of stats? You ready for a wacky stat of the week?
Let's get a wacky stat.
Let's do it.
I am in the state of North Carolina.
Hey.
And regular Scott is in the state of Virginia.
That's cool.
Oh.
So I'm gonna give you one law from each state that's still on the books. We'll start with Virginia. In Virginia.
Wait. It's still in the books since when? Like since the beginning of that state or something?
No, I don't know. It's a law that's on their books.
Okay, got it.
In the state of Virginia, it is illegal to hunt or kill any wild bird or wild animal, including any nuisance species, on Sundays. However, it is permissible to kill raccoons.
on a Sunday.
On a Sunday. You can shoot a raccoon on a Sunday.
That's so fucked up and racist in so many ways, but I'm not going to go there. But that's hilarious at the same time.
Is that yep, Virginia, Scott? That's how y'all hold it down.
You can shoot a coon any goddamn day of the week, but you just can't go around shooting regular animals on the Lord's Day.
No, it's the day of the
Good
Lord.
old 2 up, 2 down.
In the state of North Carolina, it is illegal to hold a meeting or demonstration while wearing a mask, hood, or other costume.
So the KKK is supposed to be legal in North Carolina, but I reckon they didn't get the memo.
No, they probably didn't, but that is absolutely the reason why that law was passed. Now,
is it enforced?
I mean, it depends on what county you're in, let's be honest. Let's be honest. So, California, shout out to all the West Coasters out there. In the state of California, a person is allowed to possess any number of live frogs for frog jumping contests. But if a frog dies or is killed, it must be destroyed as soon as possible and may not be eaten or otherwise used for any purpose.
Yo, that is weird, right?
Yeah, that's a weird motherfucker, man.
It's just weird.
Frog rights, man. It's about frog lives matter.
You know what? On that note, fuck your wacky stat, man. That ain't even no motherfucking stat, motherfucker. I'm mad at this shit.
Nah, they're not stats.
Like
they lost.
That, huh?
They lost.
Straight up, just like
Fuck
that.
Dumb as hell. I told you they was
dumb.
dumb.
He didn't give us no statistical shit like a logic tape right now.
Nope. What I told you was that frogs cannot. We gotta go through some shit with frogs. Apparently, frogs. State of California. Amazing. So yeah, those are our wacky stats of the week, which are actually just wacky laws still on the books. Cause people be putting anything on the books when they get into power. Like, you know what? I've been mad at this frog situation my whole life.
Right.
You know, I know you don't have the stat, but I'd be curious to know how many of those laws, those 3 that you just mentioned, what the percentage is of like times or how many people have actually been arrested for breaking those laws.
Mm.
Yeah, that would be a strange stat. I don't even know where to search for that. So,
And I would want you to start.
Census,
I would
dude.
want you to start
Process.
with the frog. You would have to start with the frog. That's got to be the first one you
If
would
you
look
can
up.
find that shit, yeah. That's crazy.
It's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in my life as far as laws go. It's like, what?
No, there was one law that West Coast was telling me about. Where was it at? West Coast in Texas, I think, where you can't, like, if you knock a guy's hat off, you have the right to shoot him and kill him.
that sounds Texasy.
Some obscure place in Texas or somewhere out
Yeah,
Midwest.
it's
I wanna
somewhere
say
out
if
west.
If you knock a guy's hat off,
They can
you
shoot
have the
you.
right to shoot him and kill him like a brim hat.
Yeah.
Like in North Carolina right now, still in the books. If you sing off key in public, it is literally a misdemeanor, and you can call the cops on somebody.
Hey, you know what? That's not a bad law.
Hey,
It's not a bad law.
Like, motherfucker, let him sing it, okay, or let her sing it. Whoever is singing it, let them do it.
Right.
You stop.
Or I'm gonna call the cops.
Right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I will
Sure
call
enough.
the cops.
I will call the law.
I will go full Karen on you if you sing off key one time.
One time.
Right.
One time. All right. I've got one more that I'm just going to toss at you for no apparent reason.
This month.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to hear this
Well,
one.
that's what I'm like. What we got?
In the state of New Mexico, it is illegal to serve sushi topless.
they know?
Somebody would have to report you. Like, that's the best part about
it, right?
Someone
would
would have.
Like Instagram.
My thought process is, who hates titties to the point where raw fish?
It's not the titties. It's the sushi. It's the sushi because the motherfucker was sitting there looking at titties one time, and then he got brought a plate of some shit. He thought he ordered some wings the way it looked because he was drunk on them. You know what I'm saying? In there chilling, throwing ones. Looked at the menu real quick, and when he got that shit, he was like, "What the fuck? Oh hell no, man! The fuck is this, man? Y'all ain't cooked this shit." They're like, "Nah, it's sushi, bro. Holmes is sushi, man." You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they hit him. And then that motherfucker said, "Nah, I'm gonna drop it down on you motherfuckers. You just ruined titties for me, serving me this raw ass fish. Who wanna smell raw fish and looking at titties at the same time? That thought don't go together."
Okay, I got one more because it's cracking me up. We're back in Texas.
Keep going on rants because he lets me. Like that's
right. We're back in Texas now. In Texas, it is illegal to own 6 or more obscene devices such as dildos.
Somebody turned in their wife because they found something they didn't want to find.
Yeah, but I mean,
I was just about to say it. I was about to say somebody told the cops that their significant other has a sex room.
Right. This motherfucker's cheating on me, man. She's got about 40 of them goddamn dildos in there. One of them was big and black.
Now, Texas,
two-headed. I mean, come on, man.
This is also the same state that has more live tigers in captivity than the rest of the world has wild tigers.
But these
they ain't got a law about tigers, but they got a law about dildos.
But you cannot have a sex room that has more than 6 dildos in it.
If your woman has a sex room, she got more 6 dildos than 10. She's cheating on you.
She's got to go to Oklahoma. Anyway, so those are your wacky laws of the week. We changed it up ever so slightly. They're not wacky stats. They're wacky laws.
They were unsupervised. So that means okay, we just keep it rolling. We called it out.
Hey, actually, the wacky law, that's not bad. Maybe that's a nice change up y'all need to bring in every now and then. Maybe once a month, you can bring in the wacky law instead of the wacky stats.
Or a wacky little change up. The wacky whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's those are ridiculous laws, though. The frog situation, I'm still...
that's
when I need stats too. I need stats to that one.
And that's because y'all motherfuckers out there in the West Coast, y'all care about too much shit. Like,
care about everything, man. We care about everything, man. It's all about peace and love, man. Everything, man. Everything. We still hug trees.
One of the greatest lines I think I got from a show that was based right in the heart of the evolution of kumbaya and peace and love and being healthy and all that shit. And was from Entourage. This chick, the lead actor or the character, I guess, Vinny Chase was dating this. She was dating a hippie chick. It was like the early seasons, and she said to the agent, meet is murder, and he replied back, even broccoli screams when you rip her from the ground. I just thought that was hilarious because you can try to care about everything, but you really can't sometimes. You just gotta be mindless with that shit. And frogs, I believe, or what I know, that frog law is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that said, let's move on to petty party politics. We'll keep it simple.
Speaking of ridiculous shit.
We'll keep it simple. Joe Biden, Democratic presidential nominee, has announced his vice presidential running mate, none other than the senator from California, Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, depending on with whom you speak.
Or Camilla. Didn't know where she's from that day.
How do you feel about these things? P, I know you have thoughts.
I mean, I got thoughts, but what you feel, regular Scott? What you feel about it?
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and state the elephant in the room. I think it's a good PC move. A woman of color as your running mate, it fits perfectly. Coming since he was the vice president of the first black president we had, so I think it fits the audience that he's honestly really shooting for, and I think it's a good move. I think hopefully Biden's not going to do a lot more talking unless he's having a press conference or something, because some of these, I think he talks too much, and he's one of those, the less said the better, because I think you have the vote as long as you don't do anything stupid, because the person you're running against is going to do everything he needs to give you the vote, as long as you don't do anything stupid. And I think that's where Harris comes in. I think she's going to make sure he's not saying anything ridiculous. I think all that's getting nipped in the bud.
You think she's going to be able to keep Joe Biden from talking?
No, I don't think anybody can keep him from talking, but I think she can keep him from saying too much. You're not going to stop him from talking. He's going to say something else ridiculous. But I think she's going to be a very good damage control person for him. Good little bee in his ear. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Okay. Well, I'm proud of her. At the end of the day, it's still a historic nomination. The first woman of color to even have the word president mentioned with her name. That's pretty amazing. Even though it says vice, still, Joe is old. Anything can happen. Plus, he don't take the same drugs that the president dude currently takes. So, I feel like he's a little bit slower old. Just a little bit slower old, if that makes sense. But, I 100% agree with you, though, that it was a spectacular PR move. They needed to have a woman of color. It only makes sense that Biden would be on both sides of, or try and be, rather, on both sides of history in having a person of color in the executive branch. So, he was the vice president to the first black, so he wanted to have his vice president be the first black woman. Like, I'm not mad at his technique for that. It only makes sense. And then I think my favorite thing that happened thus far is right after she was nominated. So, do you guys remember Herman Cain? He ran for president in probably 2016. Black dude, he was running under the Republican Party. Got eliminated early, but he did run. He made some noise. Do you remember this guy? Either one of you?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Okay. Well, he died 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
But damn, West Coast.
Wait. It gets more fun. I promise. It'll get upbeat. When Kamala Harris was announced as the vice presidential nominee, the running mate for the Democratic Party, his Twitter got active 2 weeks after he died. Just talking shit about Kamala Harris.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
he was dead for 2 weeks.
Anything though. That could, to hack her Twitter account is possible.
No.
To be, that have access to it, that's on his side and all that, it's possible. So
I get that, but this was shit he said like 2 years ago. Like, he actually said the shit. This wasn't somebody writing for him. This was what he said, but he said it years ago, and it didn't come out until she was announced. That's the part that I found most interesting. The Republicans already knew what was getting ready to happen.
Well, duh. You're talking to a conspiracy guy, dude. I mean, come on. You could do your own internet research and be an internet conspiracy guy just like me. You know, most people believe that they all fall in bloodlines. Like no one becomes president unless he has the bloodline. They say all of them are related, even Trump. All of them somehow. You know what I mean? You know. So.
That's crazy. I just thought it was funny that the dude dead and still talking shit. That's funny to me.
I'm the conspiracy theorist too, so that doesn't surprise me. There's a reason Hillary ran against Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's all just a part of a plan as far as politics and who's running and who's the face. There can be good people in politics, but there's strings being pulled. So I agree. I think that too. So that doesn't surprise me that this has been planned and that they knew what was going to happen.
Fair enough. See, this is where we would need money because apparently the Democratic National Convention's going on. Anybody on this show give a shit about that right now? Anybody?
I mean, the thing is, I think, money's... No, I do give a shit about it because there are people that I love and care about that give a shit about it. And they give a shit about it for many reasons they've already disclosed to me. Money's disclosed that on the show. So that's why him being here to shed certain light on certain things would be good when it comes to the politic portion of our show. Because, I'm going to bash politics all the time and talk shit. So that's why I really, you already know, listeners, how I feel about everything that's going on. It's all a dog and pony show. Like, it's all a dog and pony show. Until things like the Electoral College don't exist, then we're just talking. But beyond that, I agree with you guys. I think it is a great thing that's going on. The Democratic National Party, all the things that's going on, their decisions, it looks like it's supposed to. And I think that's a good thing overall.
Fair enough. Well, this just in, as of somewhere between 9 and 11 p.m. today, that we are recording on August 19th, Kamala Harris has been nominated to be the next vice president. As of sometime while we was talking.
She will be.
No, that just happened.
Like
the convention, the Democratic National Convention's literally going on as we speak. We're watching basketball.
Right. And my point is to say all that is if Biden wins, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But with civil unrest, with so many issues that are like being kind of like simmered right now. Like things are like simmering. They've been simmering for a while. Like right now we have basketball to distract us. But what's going to happen next?
Right.
We're all still simmering. But I think it's good that she. Oh yeah, but if I don't know what would happen if Trump got nominated again. And The Simpsons already told us he's going to land himself in the casket. But they said he was the former president when he landed there. So that means he he didn't die in office, according to The Simpsons. So we got to see. We got to wait to see.
Yeah, I mean that's the best answer to this whole thing. We still got to wait and see because at the end of the day, there are still how many more weeks to the election? 11, 10?
It's a long time, but that time's going to fly.
And the thing is, when I talk to people who are Moors and they're, I guess they are unconventional, if you want to say, it's the Electoral College, man. It's all about that. So that's what's going to. Of course, we know the decision has been made already, but when it comes down to how we get to see it play out, it's all about the Electoral College. And that's what's going to name who's going to be the guy able to be in the White House talking shit or not. After November.
Talking shit or not is the key.
Because Trump's still going to talk shit. Even if he's been the president, even if he don't win, the motherfucker's going to be talking all this shit after he gets out.
Oh yeah, without question, he's been talking shit the whole time. So obviously, former President Trump is gonna also talk shit.
So all of this shit until the day he dies.
Pre-President Trump was talking shit. Current President Trump is talking shit. So former President Trump most likely gonna be talking shit. That's all I'm saying.
I think he's gonna talk more. He's gonna talk more.
He's gonna talk more. Oh my god, way more shit.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's gonna talk
way more shit.
Plus, he gets a Secret Service detail for his whole life. Like, he chilling. He is going back to Mar-a-Lago like, fuck y'all. Y'all can't come.
Isn't it like when my son grows up, like when he goes to school and he, reads his history books, Donald Trump is going to be on there as a president. Like, that is unfathomable to me, and we're at the end of his presidency, and it's still so unbelievable to think like if you would have told me this 10 years ago when I'm graduated, or when I was 18 and graduating high school, I'd be like, you're what? Donald Trump, the guy who was in Home Alone, who does The Apprentice? Come on. I would have laughed at that.
I mean, and that's what people probably thought of Reagan.
Probably.
That's all.
He was an actor, dude. Like an actor, like Hollywood guy, and he turned president. Somebody, decided that's what it was. So, I think about having a child. I'm 36 now, and when me and my lady, we talk about having children, I think about shit like that. I'm thinking about, okay, when my kid comes to me and asks me who's Bill Clinton, me being a conspiracy guy, I want to say, oh, he's a fucking child molester, right? But me being, objective guy, I'm like, well, he was the president of the United States, and they tried to impeach him. He was the guy that messed up when he was in office. He let it get out. What did he do, Dad? And I know I'm not going to lie to my kid. Depending on how old they are, I might sugarcoat the language, and deflect a little bit, depending on how old he is. But I know my children will be, the version of me, just greater than. So I know they're going to be thinking forward and thinking about stuff like that as well. And I'm like, that's going to be a fucking heavy conversation. That's going to let me know for when my kids being real about life. They're you know what I'm saying? That they got a grasp on things, and fuck, what am I going to say? Like, because when it gets to Donald Trump, I'm going to be like, okay,
Right? I mean, seriously though, it's going to be like, where do I start? That, at least for me, I'm going to be like, where do I start?
And then, then it's going to have the whole black and white question and racism and all that stuff. Like, that's going to spawn all of that. And so I'm like, well, we might as well get it all out the way, I guess. But fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you got to be a smart little motherfucker, huh? Like, I don't want to have to deal with that per se because our country decided to do some fuck shit. As a whole, we did it, I guess, because we allowed it to happen.
It did happen. There's nothing we can do about it. It's in the history books now.
It's there, man. No asterisks there, my friend.
None whatsoever. You know what else did happen? We did this whole show. And it's about time for us to get on out of here. So,
time flies when you're unsupervised.
Yeah, man. Time flies when you're unsupervised. So, Regular Scott, thank you for being our guest host, Money. We out there with, you out there saving hoes, so, handle your business. I don't support the technique. But, Regular Scott, why don't you go ahead and zip them up for us. Let's go ahead and take the money technique. Zip them up.
No doubt. Again, I appreciate you guys letting me come on. It was a lot of fun to talk some basketball with you guys, talk a little politics, and This was a lot of fun. I enjoy talking with you guys. It's always good to have great conversation amongst, just other smart, like-minded men and guys who know what they're talking about. So it's good to have conversations like this, and this was a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check us out on Twitter at Need for Marvel vs. DC, the number 4. You can find our podcast, same place you can find this one. Defy Life, go to Defy Life Pods. Make sure you check everything out there. Subscribe, like this podcast. These guys do a great job. They bring a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different angles to it. Money, thinking about you. Shout outs to you. You always a part of the fam. And again, appreciate you guys letting me come on. This is a lot of fun.
Okay, Regular Scott, what you got taking the chip, man, this year? What you got? Your predictions right now.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. I've been saying it since the bubble restarted, and I think after they're gonna be healthy. I think I'm going with the Houston Rockets.
Oh wow, with no big man. Okay.
With no big man, I think Russell Westbrook, when he gets back, if he can stay healthy the rest of the playoffs, and if they can just be consistent and hit shots, I think their small ball works because they switch everything. Covington is an excellent defender. James Harden is a lot stronger inside than he gets credit for. He's been playing defense this year. I think they can. That's who I've been picking since the bubble started, because I think Russ and James coming at you full speed is a lot in these playing conditions. So yeah, I'm going with the Rockets.
You heard it here first. With that said, Hollywood Paul, go ahead and zip him up.
Hey man, I ain't got much. Just treat everybody as you want to be treated. That's always easier said than done. That takes effort. So, with that being said, treat everyone as you want to be treated. Sometimes we might not feel like it. Sometimes we might not be up to it because of whatever's going on in our lives. But, you don't have to go out your way for people. Just don't be a dick. That's simple. And if you happen to realize you are, apologize. It makes a big difference. Don't ask of anyone else that, you wouldn't want anybody to ask of you. It's kind of simple stuff. Make sure you're being kind to one another. Thanks for listening. Regular Scott, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for being on the Supervised with us, cracking your beers and everything. You inspired me to get a little mini fridge in my little office up here. So I can really get into it. But anyway, I appreciate you fellas. Money. My heart goes out to you and your fam. I know some real serious things going on. I know you're going to have a lot to say when you get back. We're ready to hear it, man. But, definitely keep listening to the network. We got some great shit coming up, man. Some dope stuff that's going to really pop off. We're trying to maintain our content while working through this whole coronavirus and everything. Our content hasn't been as accessible as we'd like it to be, but we're working on that. And thanks for staying with us. Definitely appreciate it. That's all I got, man.
I like how you began that whole thing with I ain't got much.
I know.
7.5 minutes later.
I'm a salesman, and that's how you got to get them. Because everyone who bought a car, they said they didn't want to buy a car today, and they end up going home with new shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is.
Gaffle, my whole spiel gone now.
I just told you.
I can't use to be excellent to one another because you just gave a whole speech on how it's hard. I can't use to treat people the way you want to be treated because you just gonna use the whole damn line, the whole thing. So shout out to Money. You are in our thoughts. You already know. Shout out to all of the first responders, all of the people out there still on the front lines. Wear your masks, you selfish bastards. Put your masks on. Damn it, it ain't even about you no more. Get a cool mask if you really got a problem with masks. Get some fly shit. Damn. I know you've seen them. Past all of that, Thank you for listening. This has been episode 25 on Unsupervised, the spinoff podcast. Make sure you check out DefyLifePods.com. Make sure you check out the regularest of regular Scots and the Uncle Oz on Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. And as Money would say, if you're not rocking with Defy Life, what is your life about? We out.
Welcome to the Defy Life podcast. Join JR, Thomas, and Al as they take on topics in sports, politics, current events, family, and more. Insightful, hilarious, always unique. New episode every Wednesday. Powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. Listen at DefyLifePods.com and everywhere else your favorite podcasts are available. If you're not rocking with Defy Life, what's your life about?